What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr War Games, and today I am bringing you a crazy concoction that is Bystial's Thunder Link. Now, as you can see in front of you, it involves the Bystials, it involves Thunder Dragons, and it involves Dragon Link. Now, what I kind of did with this deck is I've had a huge amount of fun with the Bystials. I love the Thunder Dragon variant. I also love the Rocket or Dragon Link variant, and I've kind of molded it all together into a 60 card absolute powerhouse of a deck. I'm going to take you through the profile and explain what I've got, why I've got it, and I've broken the deck down into each section so you can kind of piece your own version of this deck together should you want to give it a go. With all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you do not miss out on any more upcoming content. If you want to see more from this deck, like some duels or even test hands, make sure you get this video above 50 likes in the first 24 hours. So, we're going to start off with double Bystial Lubellion. Now, I probably would play 3 if I had a third copy, but I feel at the moment in time 2 is enough. The only reason you'd bump it up to 3 is because of the 60 card limit on this deck. We've then got triple Magnemute alongside triple Druid's Worm and 1 Saronir. Now, the idea for this ratio is for the pure fact that you want to be able to see a Bystial as early as you possibly can. There are other ways of getting to these. Obviously, you've got routes of getting into Lubellion through Chaos Space, but they obviously max out on Druid's Worm as well as Magnemute, because obviously he's a little bit better than the Saronir. And kind of being able to build off the back of that as well, this does provide some form of interruption, especially when you combo it off with the Branded Beast, because being able to send this during your opponent's turn will not only just be a pop through Beast, but also a send through Druid's Worm. Regained is in here because it will allow you to recycle your banished lights and darks, and then it also gives you draw power and allows you to recycle your Bystials from the graveyard as well. So that's it for the Bystial lineup. As you can see, a very healthy lineup on that one. So I believe it is 11 cards. So it takes up 1/6 of the deck. And I've tried to balance all of the elements in this deck to explain it as you can see. Moving on to the Thunder Dragons, and we go with our only main starter of the deck. And what I mean by that, in the form of Batteryman Solar, is this is the card that 9 out of 10 you want to be your normal summon. You do have other alternatives like Tracer Dragon and Safer that can be a normal summon if you want to, but this is the only one that you kind of want to be the one you start with. And the reason you do that is it lets you Foolish Burial a Thunder monster from your deck to the graveyard. So Batteryman Solar plus any Bystial allows you to build an incredibly powerful board, because what you're going to be able to do with that is Batteryman Solar will send, for example, your Thunder Dragon Roar. This will get banished by using a Bystial effect. That will then trigger Roar's effect to summon Dark from the deck. That will then trigger the Solar to spawn a Thunder token. And before you know it, you've already got 4 monsters on the board. If you wanted to, you could try and link climb higher into something like Appaloosa if you wanted to. We've then got triple Thunder Dragon OG. Now, the idea behind this deck is you want cards that are able to discard as cost, or cards that are able to kind of help set up your Bystial plays even if you get stopped. Now, that's a contradiction in the form of the Batteryman Solar, because obviously if it does get ashed, it doesn't send or anything like that, which can be a bit of a damaging effect. However, if you've normal summoned your Batteryman Solar and they drop a hand trap on it straight away, you're still then able to continue to play with all of your other Thunder Dragon monsters as well, which is why Thunder Dragon is so good, because not only will it give you hand advantage for your dangers, but it will also allow you to put a light in the graveyard, setting up a Bystial play straight away without even need to rely on your opponent. For the Thunder Dragons, we then do have the 1 Roar, the 1 Dark, and the 1 Hawk. Now, obviously, the idea behind all of these is the pure fact that they're able to pretty much set themselves out and continue to search. So you're going to be Foolish Burying your Roar first off. You're going to banish that to get your Dark. Your Dark is going to leave the field by being linked off or anything like that in order to get you into your Hawk. Your Hawk can then be activated to bring back one of these two as either a follow-up for the future turn or in the same turn to allow you to continue to make your link plays. It does have a very nice power alternative if you want to go more Thunder Dragon focused. That's when you would take out the next engine, which I'm about to show you, which is the Rocket engine. And I'll show you that at the same time as the Thunders, because this is the part that would change. Your Bystials would stay the same, bar maybe dropping a Druid's Worm. But this is where, if you wanted to, you can interchange these engines and make them even stronger if you wanted to, or more focused on them. So for the Rockets, we do play double Tracer and 1 Recharger alongside an Absolrauta and then a Seifert and a Brotor. So this is basically like your Dragon lineup. So all of these serve the exact same purposes. Obviously, the idea is that you want your quick launch to count as a free version of Tracer. Obviously, the recharger off of Tracer makes you a level 8 synchro in the form of Savage Dragon. Absolouta can be sent to the graveyard to search you out your Tracers. Safer is another normal summon, so Safer plus Lubellion can help set you up a very powerful board. And then of course you've also got the Brotor, which can come off of Spheres, which in theory can actually search you out your Thunders or your Dragons, so he's a bit of a bridge between the two of them, because obviously when he is summoned you get to discard a card, specifically special summoned. You target a face-up monster on the field, you discard a card, and if you do, you get to add a monster from your deck to your hand with the same type and attribute as that target, but a different name. So obviously, if you target a Dark, you can get a Roar. If you target a Thunder Dragon, you can get a Hawk. If you target a Solar, you can get a Hawk or a Thunder Dragon, so you've got your options there. If you target any of your Dark Dragons, you can get into any of these that you need to as well, which is really, really cool. And it obviously does get you into your Chaos Engine, which I'm about to show you now. Now, the Chaos Engine is something, again, that is quite generic, like the Bystials, that merges between the two engines. And what makes it so good is, as I mentioned at the start, Chaos Space lets you send a Light or Dark monster from your hand, and then you get to add a Light or Dark monster that cannot be normal summoned or set, which fits Lubellion perfectly, but it can also fit these beautiful cards right here, which is the White Dragon Wyvern Buster, Black Collapse, Chaos Dragon Levianeer, and of course the Chaos Emperor Dragon. I was also playing around with the Chaos Valkyrie and of course with Chaos Creator as well, because I thought that was a nice way of trying to recycle some of your resources. But for these two, we've kind of gone aggression, and the reason we've gone aggression with these two is because not only can they be searched out by Chaos Space, but they can also be searched out by Melody of the Awakening Dragon, which helps you because it can also get you into the Diabolos. So for those of you who don't know, the combo is that in theory, through the forms of Lubellion and stuff like Melody, you can search out a Levianeer, you can search out a Diabolos, and then the discard card can help set you up for your banish play. So you would go discard Lubellion, search out your Magnamute, and if you're discarding a Thunder Dragon, whoa, plays go on for days. Discard any Light or Dark, you can summon out the Magna Dragon. Magna Dragon will attempt to search in the end phase. Use Lubellion's effect to tribute off the Magna Dragon, which will summon out the Lubellion and give you the ability to get Diablos to the board. You can then use Diablos' effect to tribute the Lubellion after you've set the trap or the spell, which will let you rip one from your opponent's hand. And then you'll have Lights and Darks set up in the graveyard for Levianeer to rip another one. And then you can overlay these two to go into Hope Harbinger. Now, obviously, you do need other components, which is what makes this deck so fun and so powerful, is the fact that it just doesn't have a direct route. It's not like, right, okay, if my opponent activates Chaos Space, I know exactly how they're going to end. If my opponent activates Melody, I know exactly how you're going to end. No, if I activate either of these, you know that I have a route of play, but you don't know what else is in my hand in order to allow me to continue alternative routes of play as well. Now, like I said, the best thing about Melody as well is that it does discard as cost, being able to set up your Bystials. The big important part of this deck is that you want to be making sure that when you discard a card, whether you're using it as a hand trap or whether you're using it as discard fodder for certain cards, that you're doing it as cost, because it will always mean that your Bystials are going to be active. So it's not just Ash Blossom, turn stops. It's Ash Blossom, okay, Bystials, here we go. I'm also going to show you the Danger Engine while I'm at it as well. I've got 2 Nessie, 1 Jackalope and 1 Snake. It probably should be 3 Nessie. I haven't found the space of where I want it to go exactly, but that will probably be coming in the form of the second engine that I'm going to show you in a minute as well. Well, not second engine, technically like the 4th or 5th engine. But the idea is, again, these are Darks. They can be triggered off of being discarded, which is great. They can also help you put cards in the graveyard. Each of them searches themselves or summons a copy of themselves. And they also draw you cards as well. So it's your draw power, it's your ability to technically Foolish Burial from the hand, set up your Chaos plays and everything like that. I wouldn't want to go for anything else. I wouldn't want to, the only thing I want to add here would be a 3rd Nessie. But I'm still just playing around with the ratios to get it right for exactly what I want it to do. But again, these are just showing you all of the different options that you can play. Just coming off the back of Bystials, like if you've just had Thunder Dragon sitting around, you have a build for that. If you just have Dragon Link sitting around, you have a build for that. It's all about making, if you've got access to the Bystials, even if you don't have Lubellion, you lose consistency, but you've got the Magnamutes or anything like that, you still have plays to make. As just a flex card, it is triple Fenrir. You don't have to play this at all. If you don't have it, cut it completely. It's just one of them cards where it's like, if you open it, great. You have an insane free summon that searches a second copy of itself, so it replaces your hand advantage, and it is a form of banish interruption. It is not a necessity. It can be cut completely, and if you do, that's when you can start getting a little bit more creative, and that's when you can go for stuff like a second Levianeer, 2 more Safearts if you want to rely on those as an additional normal summon. You've also got increase your Allure of Darknesses. You could spice in 1 Thunder Dragon Fusion and a Titan if you wanted to, but you need ways of triggering that. You can also go for the Chaos Valkyrie and of course Chaos Creator play. Alongside these, we do have hand traps. So the best hand trap for this deck is Gamma. Now the reason Gamma is so good is I'm just going to quickly show you all of the cards that in theory you could activate, which would force your opponent to attempt to try and ash you or hand trap you, that your Gamma can go, yo, you are getting stopped right now. So you've got stuff like Allure of Darkness, Foolish Burial, Dragon's Ravine, Boot Sector Launch, Reasoning. The chances are by the time you've got to these 2, you would already have a monster on the board, but they can still attempt to stop that. You've also got Quick Launch. You then, in top of that, you've got Lubellion's effect by discarding itself. You've also got Melody of the Awakening Dragon. You've also got Chaos Space. You have so many targets. It's like if you open up Gamma, you are just in such a massive beneficial plus. One card you might want to consider to be putting into the deck in order to get maximum advantage off of that is that you can go into an Omega to rip another one from your opponent's hand. So put it this way, if your opponent ashes you and you Gamma them, so if you went, for example, Chaos Space or Melody, and they ash you and you respond with Gamma, that's pretty much going to give you the ability to rip 4 from their hand. Now what I mean by that is you would have already got rid of the ash that they've tried to drop on you. You could then make Omega to rip another one from their hand. You would then go through the combo route to go for a Levianeer to rip another card from their hand, and then you would rip another one with the Darkest Diablos. So straight away you've ripped 4 cards from their hand. They'll have 1 card left to play with. They will top deck a card. So out of those 2 remaining cards, unless one of them is a 1 card combo starter alongside a Dark Ruler No More, there is no chance you're losing that game whatsoever. Just while we're at it, of course, we do play 2 Allure of Darknesses. I'm playing around between 2 and 3. Again, it's trying to find space by putting everything in, but it works out really, really nicely. Banishing off a Thunder Dragon Roar is, beautiful. But there are not so many targets you do want to openly banish. So arguably it could be a Desires if you wanted to risk it, but we do play a lot of one-offs as well. Foolish Burial, again, additional ways of getting a Thunder Dragon to the graveyard. You get Lubellion to the graveyard, you get any Light of Dark to the graveyard. Pretty much it has multiple usages. And if you really wanted to, you could try and find a way of putting the adventure package in here, but I feel that might be a little bit OTT. Reasoning, I love this card. Like, a lot of people don't play this, but I love it, especially in a 60 card deck like this. Yes, it is pot luck. If you open it, you're in the money. If you don't, you're in a bit of trouble. But the idea is, you play everything from freeze, including your Ash Blossoms, which I'll show you in a minute, all the way up to level 8s. So you're going to get 4s, you've got 5s in Thunder Dragons, you've got 6s in Thunder Dragons and the Bystials, you've got 7s in your Fenrirs, you've got 8 in your Lubellion. Technically I don't think Lubellion could be some... Yeah, it has to be a special one from the hand or graveyard. So you couldn't really get your Lubellion, but you'd still be able to get other ones. And off the back of that, even if they do hit Lubellion, it's just going to be a Foolish Burial. So you're like, okay, I'll take that. And then of course the last hand traps that we do play is triple Ash Blossom and 1 Call by the Grave. Arguably, Ash Blossom could be imperms. If you wanted to increase your consistency of lights and darks for the graveyard, it could also be DD Crows, and it could, on top of that, be Effect Veilers as well. I just feel that an Ash Blossom on the right card, depending on the environment, will end the turn. Now, obviously, if you're not playing this at locals, you might then adapt the Ash Blossoms for something else. Another card you need to be aware of is sometimes D-Shifter can be quite funny, because if they D-Shift you and you're able to go full Thunder Dragon plays, you just laugh. If they D-Shift you and you go Gamma, again, you also laugh. It's pretty funny. Moving on to the extra deck. So we start off with the Synchro. So we're only playing 1 Synchro in the main, and that is, of course, the Savage Dragon. I would highly advise people either maining or siding in Scarlight, because there are times when you will get to time, and Scarlight is a match winner. For the XYZs, we are playing the 1 Hope Harbinger, and then the 1 Hieratic Dragon. This is so good in this deck because it just summons a dragon from the deck, but you make his attack 0, attack and defense 0. So you've got access to Brotor straight from the deck. You've got access from any of your Bystials from the deck apart from Lubellion. You also have access to your Darkest Diablos. So you overlay 2 Bystials, you go into Atom. Atom then can then summon out a Darkest Diablos, you can activate Diablos' effect, tribute it off, rip one from your opponent's hand. And then if you have Lubellion can tribute a card, bring back itself. And as long as you've tributed a Dark, you're then able to bring back your Darkest Diablos. You can't rip another one from your opponent's hand, but it then just resets his stats and he comes back as a 3k boss monster. The Link monster is pretty straightforward on this one. You've got the one Striker Dragon alongside the Pitsy. So this is where the Dragon Link version or area of this deck starts to excel, is coming into the extra deck. So that's where your Pitsy comes in. It's where your Hieratic Seals come in. I'm just going to go through the Dragon Link ones first and I'll show you the generic ones. Romulus, Dylan Dangerous, Quad Boral, so pretty standard to get into your Boil End Dragon. And then Triple Burst, which is generic, but it also is a dragon, so when you are dragon locked with Pitsy, you can go into your Triple Burst. And then for your generics, you've got your generic Link 2 of your IP Masquerena into Dark, the Dark Charmer, into a Unicorn. So Unicorn is just there as an option, because like when I was building this, I was like, well, what do I actually... IP is a great generic Link 2. Okay, so if there are times when I can't get into these, because these are all dragon specific or winged beast specific, you need generics. Now, I can go to Dark the Dark Charmer as long as I have a Dark monster on the board, but if my opponent doesn't have anything in the graveyard, I'm not going to be able to do anything with it. Whereas IP Masquerena gives me the route into Unicorn, which will then ultimately lead me into a route into access code that can come off the back of Dark the Dark Charmer. And then the final card that we do play is, of course, the Boral End Dragon. So the Boral End Dragon is the main boss monster of this deck. It could replace Access if you want it to. You can narrow this down. If you're like, I really want to main deck Appaloosa, I really want to main deck Omega, or I want to put Baron de Fleur in here, or I want to put in Scarlight in the main, anything like that, that's when you can start really looking into it and go, you know what? I'm going to get rid of Access Code. I'm going to get rid of Dark the Dark Charmer. You unlock 2 spots for yourself already. That can then become your Appaloosa and your Scarlight. You name it, you've got the options to play around with it, which is why I love this deck so much, is because the creative options that it gives you, or the openings that it provides for you, is absolutely insane. And it's just one of these ones where if you've got all of these cards lying around, I say lying around, you would have already invested into Bystials. But if you've got Dragon Link because you had it in an old format, if you've got Thunder Dragons because you had that in an old format, then you can put this all together and go, okay, let's see how this deck plays. I really like the Bystial engine already because I've been playing it recently. Yes, I feel that I'm more attractive to the Thunder Dragon side of it, so you build a 40-card Thunder Dragon version. Or you're more attracted to the Synchro plays and the Dragon Link Climb plays, you're going to build more of a Rocket version. That's what I just love about this deck, is it just has so much creative freedom within its own little bubble. It's absolutely amazing, and it's definitely nostalgia bait as well, because Thunder Dragons... alongside Dangers if you want to, Darkest Diablos, the Chaos Engine, absolutely love that. And then of course the Bystials, followed by the almighty and powerful Dragon Link, which constantly keeps getting kicked but just won't stay down. It's absolutely awesome, and I really do enjoy it and really have a lot of fun with this deck. So I highly advise, if you've got access to them, especially with Chaos Space being reprinted in a beautiful secret, if you have access to them, go and grab them, put them together, give it a go, see what you feel, and kind of work it from there. But as absolutely always, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. If you get the video up to at least 50 likes in the first 24 hours, I will bring you a test hand combo video for this deck as well. And you can just see the different variations, the different routes, and the power that this deck can hold. But with all of that out of the way, as absolutely always, guys, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.